There's been a lot of activity with the BP Pulse Next Generation EV Charging Project. Let's go ahead and get to what's new. First off, in London, there was a wild party that was all over social media. They took this gas station, and in the UK it's called a forecourt. I had to look up what a forecourt is, and it's the space in front of a store, but more commonly used for gas stations. And as you can see, this one's right next to the road, a pretty small plot, but that didn't stop them to building themselves a first-class EV charging station, very similar to what the Rove EV charging station looks like. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of those pictures. Here's the new crisp sign, modernized, out by the road, advertising their wares. They have a place to get coffee, food, and charge your electric vehicle. How nice is that? And there it is in this design language of the canopy with the Alpitronics and the wrappings and everything. And here's the sign out there on the road, and the little convenience store is something that they hired a design firm for, and I'm going to show those renderings here in a little bit, but it's uniform globally. So they have a design language across their brand, which is pretty significant. That's what it looks like in wide angle view. And here's the crew getting ready to party down with, wait for it, a ribbon cutting, just like the Travel Centers of America in Jacksonville here in the States. We had a ribbon cutting, they had a ribbon cutting, big scissors and all. And inside that store is kind of like a beefed up convenience store. They got produce and a wine rack over here, plenty of Red Bull, and made to order food as well. So very efficient use of the space that they have. And out at the charging bays, they have the Alpitronic hyperchargers, but you apparently have to stare at bacon while you're charging to force you to come in and get yourself a breakfast sandwich. And over here in this corner is vacuums, and it looks like an air pump or something. I'm not 100% sure. There's not clear pictures about that, but let's go ahead and get back to the update. So that happened. Tons of fun going on in London. In the bad news category, British Petroleum convened for their annual budget, and they looked at the landscape and they saw the presidential election in the United States, and they decided to decrease spending for EV charging, because why spend on EVs? Let's drill, baby, drill. But it's not ending. They decreased by $5 billion. That's a big number, a big chunk out of the budget. And they're down now to 1.5 to 2 billion. PA means annual. So that's a lot of money. $2 billion annually going into EV charging is more than other CPOs can claim. That's really, you'd have to get to the size of IANA in order to get to the spending of $1 billion a year. But this is a global number. They put in charging stations in Europe, in APAC, and North America. So all those people have to share a slice of the pie, which has now been dramatically decreased, unfortunately. However, very shortly after that press release was put out, there was this one put out on LinkedIn. So if you're given lemons, make lemonade. The crew apparently decided to pivot their strategy and are now encouraging putting BP Pulse chargers on other people's property. Makes sense. If you have to greenfield the location, you have to buy the land, you have to build the facilities. It's much more expensive capitally or capital wise. And if you just put your chargers on someone else's property, it costs much less for you and is a win-win situation. So I don't know if those two events are connected, the post about putting chargers on other people's property and the decrease in budget, but I would have to assume so. BP Pulse does have support line. If you're out and about and you need help at a charging station, you call this number, or if you have questions about your account, there's this email address as well, something to note. Reviewing the information from the Travel Centers of America ribbon cutting, there are 40 of the largest metro areas getting Giga hubs at the airports. I'm going to go over those in just a second, typically 40 stalls. And Travel Centers of America, all 300 are eventually going to get them. With the decrease in budget, that's going to take longer, obviously. And gas stations are going to be used for the densification effort. First one that opened is here in Milwaukee. Only 4 stalls, very small. I think it's a bit of a reach to call this a Giga hub, but is next to an airport in a small market, and it was initially referred to as a Giga hub, so that's what I'm going to call it. Chicago O'Hare is getting one. We know the location with a high degree of certainty, but there is no spotter confirming its location. Sujay Sarma, the CEO of BP Pulse, did confirm that this site is under construction next to a gas station and next to the Tesla supercharger. So, high degree of confidence this is the location. We just don't have final confirmation yet. Boston, Massachusetts, we do have final confirmation. It's north of Logan, and it's at a Hertz and a mix of tritium chargers and Alpitronic hyperchargers. This was discovered this past week by YouTuber J.S. Owens. Great snooping work by him. He was in the area and took an opportunity to see if he couldn't locate this. And as you see right here, it is next to a Hertz, a Uber entrance. So this is designated obviously for rideshare people next to Hertz at the airport. It is open to the public. And Sujay Sarma did mention a attached facility, which I think is this building back here. But let me go to that design company that was hired for BP Pulse's design language. If you look, there's that V canopy. And this was posted into LinkedIn. Not this past week, but the week before. And there's the V canopy with blue on the underside and the Alpitronic hyperchargers. It looks awfully familiar, doesn't it? And here it is in a bit of a wider view. I like this sign out here that says the number of open bays. So if it's all occupied, you know you can either travel on or you're going to have to wait a little bit. And Wi-Fi and vacuum. They also have these renderings of an attached facility, which I think is that building in the background, which we'll zoom into in just a second or point out in just a second. So this design language is a global unified design language across both APAC or across APAC, North America, and Europe, UK. And we are seeing that actually playing out in reality. Here's the V-shaped canopy. And again, I think this is going to be that lounge area. Houston, this was pulled off a Facebook post, and the PIP is in Plugshare, just to the south of the Houston International Airport. Dallas Fort Worth also has a new BP Pulse site spotted immediately adjacent to it through permitting. Austin, Texas, has a BP Pulse one that has been known for a while, but is now becoming clear what the strategy is. Just find a place next to the airport, preferably with a Hertz property close by, and put in a Giga hub. Phoenix, right next to the Phoenix International Airport. This one says 13 150 kilowatt dispensers. So I don't know if that's 13 stalls or if that's going to be 26 stalls. That's a little bit it says 36 carport canopy mounted lights. So we got a canopy. Yeah, it doesn't say. Sterling, Virginia, near Washington, D.C., they're getting one too. So the pattern is very clear what's going on here. They're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. Sure, their budget was curtailed, but that doesn't appear to be stopping them. And here it is again, in case you missed it in the first part, 40 largest metro areas getting a Giga hub, typically 40 stalls located at airports, at a Hertz. And so this is all going according to script, and this is the initial press release from several years ago. And the first site at Hertz LAX location. We now know where that to be. Okay, so let's get into other locations, both greenfield, and Duarte is a greenfield location. This doesn't really fit any model. It's not a Giga hub at an airport. It is not at a travel center of America, but it is a Giga hub at greenfield. So not really sure how this fits into their mix, but it has been spotted, and there's the blue canopies again. It is officially under construction. This just opened yesterday. It's a travel center of America on Interstate 95 in Maryland, north of Baltimore, west of Wilmington, Delaware. And I believe Tyler from The Average EV will be creating some content around this. So head over to his channel in order to see this new station open. I did look on the BP Pulse app, and it looks like it's 8 stalls of J3400 and 4 stalls of CCS. So that's an interesting mix that they have put in there. It did open. It's officially open as of yesterday. Richmond Hills, Georgia, open as of yesterday. So we now have 2 locations on Interstate 95, both of which that opened yesterday. No new news on these other ones. I'm just going to zoom through them really quick. Feel free to pause if you wish to look at the site designs. In table form, the greenfield locations. What is different here? Milwaukee is open at 48 cents. And the Los Angeles location has now been identified with a PlugShare ID. The Travel Centers of America location, these 2 on the bottom, this is sorted by PlugShare ID, indicating chronological when they were spotted, all of which are 48 cents. So we now see the pattern forming that 48 cents is their uniform pricing no matter where they are in the country, unless they start to pivot. So, as I said, Elkton, Maryland is 8 stalls J3400, 4 stalls CCS, but Richmond Hills that opened is 12 stalls CCS. So there is variability in the type of ports that are being put into these different locations. This is what the map looks like. We've got 2 over in California. The LAX Giga Hub is now officially spotted under construction. The Houston Giga Hub is spotted under construction. The Richmond Hill is open. The Elkton, Maryland is open. The Milwaukee is open. All the pink ones are Nevi, and we all know what's going on there, so those are likely in question. According to Sujay Sharma, that's not a determining factor for their build progress, but surely with a cut budget, it might slow them down rather significantly if those Nevi funds are not released. And all these blue ones over here are spotted under permit. Let's go ahead and zoom into the map a little bit just to see what those look like. So Houston's airport is right there. Really nice spot. And Dallas's is right next to DFW. As you can see, it's just to the east of DFW. Phoenix is just to the north of Phoenix International. Here's the airport, and here's the Giga Hub over at the rental area. And of course, LAX. Let's zoom into that one too, and then we'll close with that. And actually, I'm going to swing over to the Maryland location just to give a perspective of where that is. Okay, so we are on the eastern side of LAX for the LAX Giga Hub. All right, so let's go over to the East Coast and take a look at that Maryland location, which was a sleeper site. I knew absolutely nothing about it. I just saw it pop into the Alternative Fuels Data Center database as of yesterday. And here it is. I'm like, surely not. And I looked on the BP Pulse app, and there it was staring back at me, a brand new open location. Thanks for watching.